bacon and Cumberland sausage. I'm like,
get
inside me.
Oh, fuck it out. Fill me
by the
up.
way, I can't wait to see you. I can't wait to see you. It's going to be so fun.
It's going to be great.
Sneak into your bed at night. Right, okay.
We're live, by the way. Welcome to this Sunday night special, a late night special with Russ and your boy Eddie in the tank. 40K.
That's not actually the intro.
Yeah, that's the intro.
It's actually it. Okay, great. Yes, welcome everybody to In the Tank, episode 21. Weirdest intro of all time. If anyone doesn't know, this is not our normal recording time. No one would. Why would they? Actually, that's such a weird thing to say. So I'm high as a kite on codeine because I had a migraine today.
Yeah,
Sunday is like my sort of crash day, so to speak.
Yeah.
But, how you doing, Ed? You all right?
I'm great, mate. I'm half cut. You know, Sunday afternoon, get an old day drinking on the go. No, I'm joking.
Oh, dude, we're so dads. We're so dad. Like weekends aren't our own anymore. It's just like we're in deficit.
We're
in like
sat here with like
life
big
deficit.
Headaches.
Yeah,
but
I emailed you today going, we're here, damn it, we're here. Yeah. Do it live. I emailed you the topics today and I was like, how you doing? I was like, oh, I've got a migraine. You're like, oh, I've got a migraine too. And we're both like, oh my God, we're both
I've
dads
never heard
now.
anyone pronounce it as migraine, by the way. Is it not migraine?
It's the official dictionary definition
Oh, is
of
it? So I've been doing it wrong this whole time. Okay, interesting. Do you want to know a fun one on this subject? Hair lip, right? Okay, so I didn't realize for the best part of my life until a couple of years ago that a hair lip was called a hair lip because it looks like a rabbit's lip. I thought it was because it was like a hairline scar.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know. And my wife was like, are you an idiot? And I was like, clearly, because it took me 30 odd years. No, exactly. But anyway,
I didn't know that at all.
Moving on to hobby topics,
Catchup.
Actual Warhammer, the thing we're here to talk about.
Indeed, apparently so. So, what have you been working on, man? What's going on in your world?
It's going to be a mild shock. It's Gene Stealer Colts, and by working on them, I haven't actually been working on them because I've been a slacker. I have had my mate Paul over this weekend, and we have been smashing the shit out of the battle barn. So we mentioned this in previous episodes, but basically I'm working on like a Warhammer streaming / filming studio. It's been a little project that I've had going on for the last few months, and it's finally built now. The alarm's all in there. It's all fitted out. So we went in there the other day, we cleaned it from top to bottom, we installed all this like flooring and stuff, and we built the table and put all the lights up, and it's really starting to look pretty cool now. I'll have to stick a picture of it on the Instagram. All we need to do now is decorate it and then sort of get all the cameras up and sort the tech side of things out a little bit, and then it should be rolling. Dude. So we're getting close, but that's what I've been spending time that I should have been spending time painting my Gene Stealer Colts doing. So yeah.
No, dude, you've been sending me some photos of that, and I am excited for you.
Mate,
this is going to be huge. I'm so
excited.
It's like
every wargamer's wet dream, that place, mate.
Oh,
honestly.
Dude, it's so cool. It's like I kind of want to leave an army always there so that I can like come and play you. Do you know what I mean?
I know, you just walk in, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. No, dude, honestly, on a personal note, I cannot wait to be your guest co-host on that. And
it's going to be awesome to get you in there. Yeah. We'll have some fun games.
Imagine our energy streaming.
I know.
Like, it's going to be barely contained. Like, it's going to be like a boys' club.
It's going to be like you and me failing like 3-inch charges and just screaming at the top of our lungs.
Throwing dice everywhere. Like rage.
Yeah, we got our fucking logo sorted and all kinds of stuff now. So the battle barn is almost ready to go live. So we shouldn't be long, but that's what I've been doing when I should have been painting. And we've got an event coming up this weekend, so I need to get fucking cracking on my Gene
Wow, that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to mention. So me and Ed are the Work Wives. Did you rename it the Work Wives?
Yeah, I did rename it the Work Wives. Yeah.
And what's the event called, Ed?
I don't know if it's
Sorry,
if it's got
time.
I don't know if it's actually got a like an official title, but it's basically a doubles event that a mate of mine, Tristram, is running at the a store called Battlefield Hobbies in Daventry, and we're doing like a doubles event where we've got like 1,500 points aside, so 750 per player, as it were. And I think there's about 10 teams or something going, so it should be really good. We're looking forward to it. It's gonna be fun.
See, I know that I hate that pressure at the end, so I have been painting stuff rapidly, and I'm almost there. I've got, because I'm running 10 assault terminators, 2 units of 5 jump pack intercessors, a Calidus, and a Terminator captain. And I've got everything but like the wash stage of the jump pack intercessors and 4 assault terminators done. So
you've been finished. Smashing on. You're the polar opposite to me. I'm gonna just harness that ADHD adrenaline at like 2 days or a day before and just
superpower it. I mean, the thing is, the reason why I've done this though is because I also need to get stabbing at some other units that I've got for in the Maelstrom special that I'm doing in December. So I'm doing a 1-day event in December, and then of course lining us both up for the Oxford Onslaught. You need to get your name down for, by the way, because it's going to be banging.
Yeah,
it's gonna be really cool. But yeah, so I've got lots of stuff on the horizon for that. Oh, it's going to be so much fun! I can't wait to play alongside you, dude. At doubles event,
it's going to be a lot of fun.
I kind of feel sorry for our opponents because we're going to have this frenetic, like, aggressive energy. Like, hey, let's go. And by the way, we do a podcast and we might talk about you on pod. Like, you know, like we'll probably do a post special. I'm staying with you over the weekend. So we might do a bonus video or just a bonus 100%. In the tank episode when we're there, and even play a game. We might get round to doing our third
that'd be nice.
versus Dark Angels match, which would be really cool.
That'd be cool.
Very quickly as well, there's a Dark Angels Christmas jumper that I desperately want. Oh my days. Oh my days. I need that in my life. I also got a bit word bearersy this week with a Forge World delivery of Gal Vorback, which I'm just like,
they look really nice.
God, dude. I sent you a video because I haven't really had a chance to talk to you about that. What did you think when I sent you a video?
They're super cool. Honestly, I actually they're a lot better quality casts than I realized. They're obviously official Forge World ones. They're not third party or anything, but they look really good. And I think because obviously you're going to have a load of other just regular possess, like the plastic models. I assume they're a similar sort of size to them, but like they are. They're beasts, and it'll really break them up a bit. You know, give you some more interesting sort of guys here and there to throw in the mix. Be wicked.
Yeah, and because I'm running word bearers anyway, they are like the proper old veterans of the Long War, right? So it would make sense you'd still have some like OG Gal or some remnants of the OG Galvor back thrown in there. But like,
you need to get what's his name that I said about. What's he called? You did say what's his name?
Yeah, with the Blade Slaves. I can't remember his name. Like he died
the guy with the wings.
Oh no, that's Argyltal.
Argyltal, you need to get him.
I need to get Argyltal.
You 100%
need to get him. Yeah, but it'd be the most expensive, unnecessary model ever, right? Because he would essentially be
I've got
one of my... Do you have one?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah,
I might have to sweet talk you. Because he would essentially be my
just
unit
be another
sergeant
possessed.
in one of my...
Yeah,
it'd just be a unit sergeant, but he's like 50 quid. So I mean, like, what the fuck? It's like £50 for a sergeant.
Yeah.
But holy shit, that model is amazing.
Yeah, he's very
amazing.
Sexy.
Like one of the greatest sculpts that like...
He's just like clean ripped a dude in half. He's just like holding a body in the space marine. Like... Yeah, so
and also
good.
in the lore, Argyltal is an absolute dude. Like I love him. I just love everything about him. But like, and very quickly on the word bearers thing, I just want to make a note about Duncan Rhodes recently did an Instagram post on like vintage second ed word bearers that he's done for like a small gaming sort of thing that he's doing. And I'm like, oh my God. And it's a subject that I want to bring up in the future at some point, which is like sealed boxes of old Hammer. Like, is it cool or is it cringe? Right?
No, it's cool.
And like, yeah, I know we're not going to get into that now because that's going to be a future topic.
Well, we've shut the topic off already. It's cool.
It's fucking cool. But I kind of want to get in there and like get them made and painted. But like, a part of me is like, oh my God, I want to do 1,000 points of second ed. Like, oh my God, it's so cool. It's so cool. But then I eBayed how much a unit of 5 of those are. It was like
outrageous.
80 quid, and I'm like, what? It's like 3D printers go, brr. I'm like,
that's definitely the way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's not as if like I'm ripping anybody off, but there we go.
No,
but yes, anyway, so there we go. No, exactly. So God, I'm turning into such a heretic. Like, God, what's happened to me, man?
Real heretic.
What's happened to me, man? I just want to play word bearers.
I don't know what's happened to you.
And
he's a creature of the night these days.
I think what's happened is it's classic Catholic suppression, right? Where I've like gone, no, for the Emperor, for the Emperor, for the Emperor, for the Emperor. I will always be a loyal son of Caliban, for the Emperor, for the Emperor. And then I just snap, and I'm like, chaos gods.
It's too much. It's too much self-flagellation. That's what it is.
Yeah, too much stoicism. I've hid my dark desires behind my veil for too long, and I've just snapped, and I'm like, yes, chaos, yes. Like I've been re-listening to like the first Heretic. I've been re-listening to the first Heretic, the Black Library, and I'm like, this is so cool. Like, let me be a possessed.
There's one thing that gets me wet around the edges for chaos, like nothing else, and that is playing Dawn of War, the original game. When you click on all the units and you hear all their voice lines, like, do you hear the voices too? I fucking love it. I don't know what it is. It just summed up like,
me and you are so extra as people that we would quote shit like that all the time at home. Mel, my poor wife. My poor wife just like, it's like, dude, like you're talking to yourself again, just making random voices, and you're laughing because you've done this, right? And you're just like screaming random shit, and like she's like, what is going through your mind right now? And like it's just Dawn of War flashbacks.
It's like that meme, isn't it, where the girl's doing her makeup in the mirror, and then her husband's in the background going, I feel the warp overtaking me. It is a good pain.
Or like
she's crying.
Or like in bed, like going like, oh, I think he must be thinking about other women, and it's just like the dark powers whisper to me. It's just like, oh no, it's fucking awful people. My God, we're such nerds.
So funny,
right?
I love
it. We better get on to our first subject. That we've got
we should actually talk about
no less than 3 very juicy subjects today. So the first one is quite an interesting one because I think there is actually no clear answer to this one, unlike our second point, ironically. But it's going to be fun to like unpack that. I just knocked my mic. Sorry, Ed.
Oh, that's all right. Don't worry. Just create a load of work for me in post-production. It's fine. Absolutely fine.
It was because I made like
I don't have to sift through the entire podcast, find the exact moment that you hit your microphone, edit it all down, fuck around with it. You know, it takes 2 seconds, mate. You knock it again if you want.
Behind the
Eat the fucking thing for all I care.
Mike. Right. So, the first subject, goddamn. Should Space Marines always have centre stage? And what I mean by this, I think this is actually quite interesting. What I mean by this, posters, media, front page of editions, front page of rule books, always part of a massive promotion, always having a massive range.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you go first because I feel like I've just rambled and caused chaos in a literal and metaphysical context. But should they be sensitive?
I mean, I think I kind of I'll tackle this from like a business perspective first. I think it kind of makes sense
this is why
because they're very iconic. And I think that if people see Warhammer 40k and they see the Space Marine helmet, you know, they've got quite a sort of famous silhouette, right? So I do think that makes sense as like a reason for them to be center stage as from a business perspective. But I do also think that there are so many great races and things in the game that it, from like a perspective of a hobbyist who's been playing this game for God knows how many years, it kind of gets a bit old. And we talked about this with like Space Marines before and like the Ultramarines and stuff like that being the poster boys. I think it gets a bit like old that it's always them. It's always the Ultramarines. It's always them on the front cover of every this and that. And they always somehow feature in most of the boxes. Like, you know, if there's a big release, like 10th edition Leviathan, it's always Space Marines versus something. Do you know what I mean? So I get it, but at the same time, it would be cool to see something a little bit different. Because there are other unique races that they've got. They're really interesting, but I get it. So what are your thoughts?
I think, so I've got quite a few on this actually, where I think there are 2 completely different cases, but I think one is a sort of a false case where it's all about what you say in concern to like business, right? Where like, whether we like it or not, or whether Xenos players like it or not, or whether the community like it or not, Space Marines make dollar. They do top fucking dollar. Like as I might have been quoted on pod as saying, and I think this was like some insider knowledge from a GDev dev that like that in one financial year at the end, just before the end times of Fantasy's lifespan, just the Tactical Space Marines box outsold the entire Fantasy range. Like
that blows my mind.
Fucking range.
That's mental.
Blows my mind too.
Why the fuck are people buying Tactical Marines at this day and age?
But this is that's pre-Primaris.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but still,
this is like
Tactical Marines.
When Fantasy was real, bro, it was like before the end times, right?
Yeah.
So, and that was like your bog standard, like pick up this
your
first
Bogo
box,
troops,
right? For like people, exactly. When actually you needed at least 3 units of troops in your average army construction, right?
You did
back in those days.
Back in those days.
Needless to say, right? Space Marines make dollar, so of course, you know, from a marketing perspective, you would market that. You would foist that upon your impressionable youth and make them want to buy Marines. However, I don't know whether at this point it's this chicken and egg self-perpetuating sort of thing where like Space Marines make money because you then, you know, push Space Marines or not. Does that kind of make sense? Where like, you know, I think GW are a little bit afraid to like break cycle, that they do it one year and like, God forbid, they don't make their like quota on it. Do you know what I mean? Like, like, and I imagine they do have like massive degrees of statistics of like the best selling factions, and I'm sure that there's a massive jump, with Space Marines, right? But you could even, from a marketing perspective, lean into that where like, you know, you could create an edition and kind of hold off on Space Marines for a little bit and build up that like sort of like anticipation for them. Not have them be a day one codex, but have them be like a midpoint codex and just build it in the background.
I
and
just
be like,
can't
actually, we got some spicy, right? Yeah, but
it's like, too risky.
Yeah, I know, I get that, and they're a business and they've got shareholders and stuff like that. But it could be awesome, right?
It could be awesome.
I would just love on the front cover, like, you know, another like sisters.
Who would you choose
like,
if you had to?
orcs.
If you had to like make a new edition and launch a completely different faction as, you know, center stage? Who would it be?
Yeah,
that's
not like
question.
Launch a new faction per se, because like
no. Sorry, an existing faction. I meant like who would be center stage?
I know what I wouldn't choose. Right, I wouldn't choose any crazy elite armies like Imperial Knights. Obviously, Chaos Knights and Custodes, and probably not Grey Knights either, right? For that same reason, that they're low model count, highly complicated armies that you just don't want to do that, right? I kind of want like a despicable villain faction. So like Drakari again. I remember when Drakari debuted third, and that was quite cool actually, and like have them be raidy and like very jabby and stuff. Possibly like Eldari is the good faction, the like good faction in inverted commas. Maybe sisters. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe have sisters thrown in there. That would be quite cool. And then have a contrasting like thug faction. So what I mean by that, like orcs, Tyranids, maybe even chaos, maybe even chaos demons. Like give them like have demons like thrown in there. Have them like really scary and like have them be the antagonist of the. Maybe sisters versus demons. Maybe. Eldar versus orcs as like a completely contrasting fighting style, right? I mean, dude, it'd be so cool. It'd be so cool. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, this probably leads into another video of like, are Space Marines cool that I want to do at some point? Where they deserve this like center stage? But that's a kind of a different conversation for another day. But I do think there could be a lot of potential in a starter box being off the cuff of what we expect. And how many veterans would go, okay, that's cool. I might consider that and have some cool, like, starting sort of things. How about you? What factions would you like in a
I actually quite like your Eldari kind of overview idea. I think that's quite an interesting one because they're like a super faction within themselves, really. You've got the Harlequins, you've got the Drakari, you've got the Eldari, you've got the Yanari sort of bits and bobs. So there is quite a lot to unpack there, and I think you could do something quite interesting with it. But I also kind of get I like Chaos Space Marines, and maybe they'd be a safer choice because they are kind of Space Marines. Obviously, they're not exactly the same ones that they, package launch continuously, but that could also be quite interesting. But the issue with that is they've had quite big range refreshes recently, so there's nothing that they. Well, I guess old whatchamacallit, the Noise Marines and that lot, Emperor's Children, they could be a big launch box and, push
but
out.
you couldn't really do that with a starter box per se. Oh
no, true. Well, you could, but
you kind of did with like the Plague Marines though, right? Like I guess.
Yeah, they did it. They did it with Death Guard because was it not 8th edition?
Okay.
8th edition, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was. It was the Rain Refresh. Yeah, maybe then. Yeah, maybe make Emperor's Children the villains.
Yeah.
Emperor's Children. That'd be really cool. Emperor's Children versus Eldar. That'd be wicked, especially.
Oh yeah, because it actually kind of pulls into the Slanesh side of stuff, right? Which is all their sort of problem. I tell you what, I'd like to see. This is an interesting one, and it's a slightly off topic, like on a tangent. Demons in 40k, right? As a faction, Chaos Demons. They're not really very 40k for the most part. You've got Soul Grinders, which kind of are a bit more sort of seated in that universe. But beyond that, they're not really much of a crossover. And I feel like in my head, if they're going to release some new things down the line, it would be quite interesting to see almost a bit more of that demon engineer style. You know, like the monsters in Doom, the video game, where they've got that kind of biomechanical aspect to them. Because, it's the 41st millennium. Demon engines are a thing that exists. So that'd be quite cool.
Well, we're kind of getting a sort of separation where, like, Sigmar demons and 40k demons are starting to like separate a little bit, right? Where you get like specific
Sigmar's got
demon
a lot more
stuff for, and also you've got like demonically sort of like
the mortal
stuff
allies,
for
right?
Sigmar that you can't. But also like there's like that there's a wicked keeper of secrets that's exclusive to Age of Sigmar that looks a bit different, where she's like a goddess and stuff, and she's and she doesn't exist.
The one with the big dress. I know the one. Yeah. She's cool.
Oh, that's a sick model.
It's interesting. I wonder what they're going to do, because like some people were going, they're going to get rid of Chaos Demons out of 40k as a faction, and some I don't think they will.
I think they should integrate them, because you're getting a situation now where like the 4 sub-god factions of 40k are becoming like very pronounced, right? Where like we're getting Emperor's Children, we know that now, and I called that shit. But like we're getting Emperor's Children now, and like the World Eaters Codex has only just come out, and it's quite a bare dex, like as is a lot of like bare. The specific thing. Just throw the 4 gods in with those 4.
And you reckon get rid of the Chaos Demons Codex altogether?
Maybe.
I mean, I would almost go the other way and say, like, make detachments for each of the Chaos Gods within the Chaos Demons Codex, and then have an index one that's like the one it is now. Like, so you have the one that's like undivided, like they have now, and then one for each god, mono-god ones. I think you could go that way.
I don't know. For me, it always looks weird. I mean, Chaos Demon players, like, I salute you, because you're doing the Dark God's work, and that's cool. But like, there's not many of you, and you're all pretty cool, actually. Like, it's all good. But like, for me, they look like a really schizophrenic army on the tabletop. Like quite literally, where like it doesn't really make sense necessarily from a lore perspective that you would have like a undivided sort of demonic
I get what you're saying.
That. It just doesn't make sense. And like from a color scheme perspective, it always looks really like
it's
abrasive
jarring
to me. Like you've just got like loads of shit thrown together, and it's like.
If I was to paint Chaos Demons as an army, I would do them all the same in terms of like the color scheme. I would do like a unified kind of scheme, which would be weird looking probably.
But my solution would be to like in all of the 4 Chaos Gods books and also CSM to have a demonic detachment that benefits you running mostly demons in that.
Yeah, could do that.
Right?
Yeah.
And just really juice that loose, and let's make it really strong. I do just think that like you've got a situation that just makes sense there, where you've got like 4 subcategories of factions that are kind of like desperate for more units.
Yeah.
And they kind of already exist.
Because they're like, they're the super factions allies, like the Imperium have all the Imperial agents and all that sort of stuff. Obviously, like Chaos, they can bring a lot of Chaos Demons and stuff like that. So they are, they already have that thing to fill, right? But they are also their own thing. And I kind of, although they are a schizophrenic army, I do agree. I actually think list building for them is quite tricky because you can do so many different builds, and they're a really wide codex with loads of different units. But I think they're also quite fun and techy, and I quite like that. So I don't know. It's a tricky one.
I don't know. For me, it just causes unnecessary game balance where it just becomes quite soupy for no reason.
Because we've lost, obviously, summoning, because demon summoning used to be a thing, and that was quite cool. So cool. Kind of miss those days in a way.
So cool. I do, but it was the most unbalanced BS ever.
Oh, yeah. It was broken as fuck.
And weird, because back in like third ed, you'd have to bring so many models to the table where like your sorcerer could explode into a unit of Nurglings, or explode into a fucking bloodthirster,
turn into a chaos spawn or something.
Yeah. And it's just like
all this shit on the sidebar.
Yeah, exactly. And like, that's not practical or balanced.
No.
Do you know what I mean? And if we're living in esports 40k world, like that's just not going to fucking cut it. But like, I don't know. We're not paid enough money to sit here and like figure out the rules to the shit. Right?
No,
but, like,
I just thought it was an interesting one with the 40k-ification of the faction, because I want to see where they're going to go with it.
I would love that. I must confess, I'm not a massive fan on the whole of the rank and file demon units for 40k. I feel like they took a step back from like their metal years, where actually some of their metal models were amazing and kind of horrific and kind of awesome. And I don't really like, especially the bloodletters for me, look really fucking weird. Like, I think that whole needs to be refreshed and sorted and kind of, if I don't know, to the point where I would press the reset button a little bit, if I'm honest.
I found a load of old metal plague bearers that I painted, and they're super cool. Like, all their guts are hanging out. They're like holding them in and stuff. It's like, they're really gory. I quite enjoyed those. Yeah.
All of those demon models from third ed were the peak demons.
Yeah. Peak. They were cool.
Apart from the big metal ones. If I had my way, if I could like Tinkerbell it, I would keep the modern big guys, the big greater demons.
Yeah, because they look great.
There's no getting
Beautiful
around that.
Sculpts.
And kind of make a plastification of the old rank and file.
Yeah, just sort of sharpen them up a bit. HD Rad's version of them, kind of sexy them up. I don't disagree.
A bit more horrific.
Yeah,
a bit more horrific.
They're demons at the end of the day. They're kind of meant to be, right?
Scary. But there we go. Let us know your faction choices, and should Space Marines be center stage, and also like, comment, subscribe, show us that you care about us. Sorry, I just realised that. Not as late as it has been on some episodes, but we need to get that in there at some point. Please, guys, our goal genuinely is to hit 100 subscribers by Christmas, and I genuinely think that we're on the right path for that, so we'll see.
Hopefully,
Ed's also desperate to get the 69 subscribers because he's a massive perv. But we'll attack that when we attack. But there we go.
We're only one away.
Yeah, I know. Only one there. So be that 69.
Yeah.
There we go.
Come on.
Awesome. Cringe. How fucking cringe was that? God, I'm going to just die of cringe.
It.
Okay, so this one's, speaking of dying of cringe, should gatekeeping ever be justified? Now, the reason why I want to talk about this is because there's quite a lot of talking heads in the hobby that are like, mega gatekeepy and really into the concept of gatekeeping, and I'm gonna be real, man, I think it's a fucking joke. Like, stop it. Behave
Who's
yourself.
Gatekeeping?
Sit the fuck down.
Like, seriously,
I'm not gonna mention.
You don't want to name a shame?
I don't want to mention. No, because we discussed that recently. Where but there are, I could probably name about 4 or 5 big YouTube community members that are well into the concept of gatekeeping and want to keep it this sort of like using words like pure and original and using all those like weird keywords that make you go, just a bit right.
Yeah. You see, I've actually not had that experience through the circles that I've sort of run in, luckily, because it's all shit. But
not in real life, I don't, but in online circles I've discussed.
Yeah, but even online, I've not really come across it, which has been lucky, I guess, for me. But like, that is shit. Like, you should never gatekeep, in my opinion. I think it's, as we've spoken about previously when we've talked about like, the hobby getting bigger and all that sort of stuff, I think it's really important that we kind of welcome in and help people grow into this hobby, because they are the future of this hobby. And without them, it will cease to exist eventually. So, I do think we really, we should be kind of encouraging people rather than gatekeeping.
Okay. So let me put the shoe on the other foot then and try and work out why people potentially, and I don't believe this for a second because I've made my stance on this very clear. What about keeping out toxicity and keeping out the change of the setting? So keeping out like this is just me just spitballing in terms of like concept here, but keeping out a grim darkification of the setting, right? Like, you know, and stuff like that, and maybe keeping out toxicity in terms of like people in your gaming group that are assholes and you don't necessarily want to welcome into your gamer group, and you want to like preserve that harmony. Do you know what I mean? Let's be real. Let's
think that's a case by case basis, though. I think, like, you know, if you look at people who are causing problems, like an individual, let's say, you're never going to be able. There's always going to be dickheads, right? And you're always going to get the odd one, unfortunately. The odd troll here or there, whatever it is. So, you know, if you can deal with those on a case-by-case basis, because usually they are unique cases, and, you know, give them a second chance, like, give them a little slap on the hand, you know, say, look, come on, this is not how we do things around here. Let's try and behave ourselves. And if they're going to be a knobhead again, then just kick them out or whatever. I think that's fair. You're giving them a chance. Can't do much more than that, really.
Yeah. I think this is it. I think be very vocal with that, right? And you know, give warnings and stuff like that as well, because you know it might be that they've never like checked themselves, right?
Exactly.
Where
they might not even realise
to be challenged. Yeah, well, yeah, you know, this hobby, you know, attracts a varying degree of like personality types, as me and you can attest to, Ed, right? And it's like, you know, we're not perfect. Like, you know, I'm sure I've pissed people off before in the past, and it's like, you know, there are ways of like self-improving in that regard. And first step is knowledge, right? So that's all good. But like, what about like the culture of the hobby, in as much as like the grim darkification of it? Is that a thing? Because I'll be honest, I mean, it's a little bit of conspiracy, if I'm radically honest.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it used to be more grim dark. If you look at like Blanchitsu style artwork and some of the older styles of models, even the ones we were just talking about with the demons and stuff like that, you know, things were pretty grim and dark in the olden days. And I do think things have been not so much grim darkification.
That's modernized,
like they've just been, they've been like modernized. Maybe they've had like a slightly softer take on the same kind of thing. Like if you look at the new plague bearers compared to the old ones, they're still gross and diseasey and bloated and, you know, got guts here and there, but they're just not quite as visceral. They're not like the 90, they're more of like a 60 or something like that. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So
you say that, but I do want to interject a little bit, because you've got that infernal temptress that's quite literally playing the harp of someone's.
No, that is true. That is true. So I mean,
right. So
I think it's a case by case thing again. But I don't personally think there is a grim darkification of the hobby.
I don't.
But I would, if the question was, should we be trying to push back against that? I do think that is kind of a fundamental core tenet of this universe in a way, that changing it would almost sort of make it lose its magic in a way.
I also think it's very apolitical, in as much as like one of the things that I hear from like the right in regards to this, right, is like, oh my god, they're like PCing Warhammer, where it's like, oh my god, they're going to change it and Star Wars it and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't think those two things are actually like simultaneously valid, where it's like, if you actually look at the sisters and stuff like that, they're fucking horrendous.
Oh mate,
right? Like if you look at the
Repentia,
and you look at the Repentia, right, and you look at the Penitent engines, as we discussed, right, and I don't think inclusion and you know, having an inclusive hobby and grimdark are at odds with each other at all.
No,
I don't think they are like. I don't think they should ever be grouped together. I think that's a fucking really bad argument, where it's like, you know, I think the setting at its fundamental core is always going to be quite grim dark, especially compared to every other sci-fi setting ever, right? The only one that kind of the only settings that kind of come close are like the 2000 AD kind of settings, right? And like to some degree Lovecraftian or Conan-y, but it's not the same. It's not like grim dark as we know it within the context of the setting, right? But like, I don't think that's ever going to happen. It just doesn't feel like those two things are ever going to like be at odds with each other. I think
Yeah.
No, I don't know, man. Like, after reading some fiction and stuff recently and stuff, I think it's still there.
Yeah, well, you've been reading the fucking World Eaters Omnibus, haven't you? Not World Eaters, sorry, Word Bearers Omnibus.
Word Bearers, yeah.
It's dark, that is.
Yeah, it is dark. So's the Night Lords Omnibus, but also so is End in the Death Volume 3, for fuck's sake. That recently came out by old Dabby. Like, no spoilers for that, but, like, it's horrific. It's fucking horrible. Yeah. Like, it's just like... Do you know what I mean? And there's a lot of stuff going on there, and I don't know, like, it's really interesting. I just don't think that from a niche hobby perspective, you can afford to be gatekeepy, quite frankly. And, you can be a custodian and a statesman of the hobby and still be welcoming and lovely about it, and just don't be a fucking dick about it, and you may meet people in your time in the hobby that will potentially change your perspective as well, or challenge your perspective, but that's okay. That's fucking life. That's life.
It is.
Grow up. Like, I'm sorry, but and that goes to both sides of the political spectrum, where we need to coexist. And I know there are some ideals that you don't want to, like, betray, and I get that. And I'm not saying you to do so, right? Like, there will still be some fundamental elements of your, like, identity that you never ever want to change. And I'm the same, right? But you still need to function in this world alongside people, right? And, like, the last thing you can do is start getting divisive and derisive with people just because of their stances. It's not fucking on. It's just not on. Do you know what I mean? Like, grow up. On both sides. Just grow the fuck up. Like, this is a uniting hobby. We have such a beautiful hobby with such incredible people in it. And, I love you. You're my favorite person, probably, like, you're outside of my inner circle of my family.
Yeah,
so, like, it's because of the hobby that we met in the first place. So,
it is. We're lucky, and I think we've talked about this loads of times about how wonderful this hobby can be for bringing people together. And I think that's the thing. It's like gatekeeping is the opposite of that. You're effectively pushing people away, and you don't ever want to do that, because you're not going to meet anybody doing that. And as you said, people might change your opinions on stuff. So I think you just got to be open-minded and just have fun and welcome everybody in. And, look at like, I've run communities with people before, and it's important to welcome people with open arms. If they turn out to be a dickhead, then they get the boot, but so be it.
Yeah.
At least you're giving them a chance.
I'm not saying like, in that situation, when you warn someone and they are just being a dickhead, or they are just a toxic person in your community, or whatever, then give him the fucking boot. Like, I say this behind, like, my tolerance and stuff like that, but ironically, my being a Dark Angels boy, although my bullshittery for that sort of tolerance is not good. Like, no. Where, like, if someone's rude to me, I will tell them to fuck off, and I really don't care about getting into a bit of a scrap with that kind of thing. Yeah, but
that's fair.
Maybe that's something that I need to work on in my life or whatever. But, like, I just don't give a shit.
So aggro.
Yeah, I am quite aggy, but I don't know. Do you know what it is, right? I think I've got to a point in my life, being a dad, and I say this, and this is such a weird thing for, like, non-parents to understand, where, like, I simultaneously feel like almost invincible with some elements of my life, and then completely vulnerable. Where, like, my thing massively. In my life that is my most important, not to get too philosophical going off topic, but, like, my most important thing in my life are my friends and family. And if anything, God forbid, would happen to them, I would be a wreck, right? But because now my priorities have changed, and I'm a dad now, and, like, you kind of have to take a back seat on your ego. Simultaneously, I'm like, I do not give a fuck. Like, if
you're rude to me,
I do not have time. I do not have tolerance. Like, if you were rude to me, like, I will eat your face. Do you know what I mean? Like,
you just got a lot less time. I'm the same with negativity. Like, I just can't be asked with it. I don't have time. I want to get on with it. I want to surround myself with fun, positive people. I don't want anyone bringing me down. It's too much work. Can't be asked.
I admire that about you, and about you greatly, Ed. And just to show my absolute and unadulterated respect for you, mate. Like, I know a lot of stuff concerning you and the community and everything else, and, like, I have so much respect for all of what you're doing now and everything with the battle barn and stuff like that. And
it's, like, gonna be awesome, mate.
Your philosophy, considering everything, is just great. So, like, high fives to you, dude, and I can't wait to see what you come out with in the future. Like, my boy.
It's going to be exciting, mate. Can't wait. You're my boy too.
Really exciting.
We're gonna get you on there, boy. It's going to be wicked. Play some Warhammer.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna smash your filthy Xenos.
You can try. You can try.
Just to like stop that soppiness. Like, goddamn, like fuck you. I'm gonna smash your Xenos apart. But
I'll just get my toilet dice out. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, dude.
Let us know if you guys think gatekeeping can ever be justifiable. It's an interesting topic. It's quite
and your
hot
reasoning,
yeah.
man. Yeah, and your reasoning. Have we missed something out? You know, are we arch Warhammers? Like,
we're open-minded.
Fuck that guy. Right. So. Sorry, shots fired. You're gonna edit that out, Ed, and just be like, maybe not.
What did you say? I actually missed it. Did you name drop somebody?
It's fine. Don't worry. Yeah, I did. Yeah, you should just find it in editing and just be like, fine. And just leave that as a present.
I just
get yeah.
Thank you.
Maybe. That might be quite funny, actually. Okay, cool. So we've got one final very, very juicy lore topic to finish on. And this one I was quite proud of myself for like thinking about, because I was like, because I am master of topics, and I've kind of had a fucking crazy lightning storm of topics where all of a sudden it hits me, and I've got a master in the tank topic list, like a mile long, and I was like, and I added this to it, and I was like, this one I've got to do sooner rather than later. So this is cool. So which Loyalist Primarch would you like to see or want to see Traitor in the lore, or to retrospectively time warp it? And vice versa. So the Traitor Primarch to be good, a good guy.
Yeah.
Verticom is based on your perspective of good and evil, I suppose.
Yeah.
I will let you start this off, because I've got a couple that I want to talk about. So what we'll do first is we'll do goodies turn bad in inverted commas. So who is your first goodie turn bad?
You've heard me like shooting some cool ideas about this in the past, and I think cracked Gulliman would be awesome. And I would love to see him get pushed over the edge and just go full mental and just turn and just go like, but almost like it's a hard one, because in many ways, like my previous theory is that he would just like lose it and become almost like a fervent, a bit like the Templars are, where he would just go fucking full crusade on something, just fuck the Codex Astartes out the bin that shit off and just go nuts, because he's the one who wrote the fucking thing, right? So like it would be really cool to see that. But go on.
No, I would say also this doesn't have to be like from current canon. It could have been us retrospectively Horus Heresy changing events.
Yeah. But no, him being that.
Yeah. Sorry, Karen, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, go on.
You carry on. The thing is, what I think is most horrific about that choice, and by the way, great fucking choice. Love this choice, right? Because it actually gives Gilliman a bit of a backbone, which I quite like. I love the fact that you could have done it retrospectively Horus Heresy from a misunderstanding between the Lion and Gilliman, from like the Lion thinking that like Gilliman was essentially making a second sort of Imperium and being cracked. If
That's
that makes
cool.
sense. And then having in a Monarchia an accidental burning of Ultramar or an eradication of Ultramar, and then him snapping and like being like, fuck you, and
that'd be cool.
The Lion having the support of the Imperium because he's a Lion and he's daddy's boy, right?
So like, he is.
And to be honest, that's a threat, right? Like evil Gilliman, you'd shit yourself, because he would have it all planned.
Control
he would have it all planned.
That's
fucking
the thing.
Hell, scary,
terrifying.
Scary, because terrifying, truly terrifying, because you've got like a master, essentially mathematician, like controlling all of the. It'd be like Per Turabo times 1,000 on like a global,
awesome.
No, well, like a sort of galactic level.
Yeah,
it'd be like, how do you play chess against that?
You don't.
His
armor wouldn't be blue either anymore.
What would you change it? What would you change it?
I don't know. Bit of hot rod red in there. I don't know.
Hot rod red.
No,
maybe like a sort of.
I don't know.
Maybe like a dark purple. Maybe like we don't have a dark purple Legion, like a really dark.
Kind of like the idea of him just having like his armor just like really burnt and crisped and melted, so it's just like you can kind of see bits of the blue underneath, but like he's all sort of scarred and fucked up somehow. That'd be cool. Like that.
Well, Ed, that's a great choice. I actually love that choice. I'm going to go for a predictable it really is a fun one. That's a cool one. I like it. I'm going to go for a terribly predictable choice, but I actually love this choice. Sanguinius is Khorne's champ.
That'd be so cool.
The OG one. And this one kind of, for me, kind of goes back to the fact that, again, if we were to twist, the lore ever so slightly, where, there were a couple of Chaos Gods where, who they ended up with were not their first choice. One of which was, Nurgle. Nurgle desperately wanted Purty. And I think that would be the most horrifying thing ever to have a Death Guard Purty. I'm sorry, but the Iron Warriors being Death Guard, you're fucked. You just never bring those fuckers down.
They'd be unkillable.
Absolutely. Speaking of Iron Within, but also Khorne's first choice was actually fucking Sanguinius, and dude, can you imagine the terror? Cool. All of that magnificence,
the foresight,
and all of that. Flaming wings.
Oh my god.
Fire wings. Fucking fire wings.
Fucking
coming at you.
Blood crazed vampire. My god. Can you imagine that would be?
It's so cool. That'd be most vampires, Ed, but can you imagine
ultra
the
blood crazed, the worst of the worst blood hunger.
Pinning down fucking Vulcan and drinking from his brother and
but that's interesting because if they did that, the Black Rage wouldn't be a thing, right?
No, because he wouldn't have died at the hands of Horus, but maybe a different, darker, cornate Black Rage would take its place.
That'd be cool.
But that'd be Khorne's gift. Khorne's gift would be Black
You're
Rage.
making me want to make a World Eaters army that's all converted Blood Angels.
Blood Angels, sorry. Yeah.
My lord. That's so cool.
Oh.
Stop, Russ. I don't have time.
I know, see? I know, it'd be sick, wouldn't it? It'd be sick.
It would be sick.
It was funny because when I was talking about this with my wife beforehand, she made a jive where she was like, oh, well, you could just say Dark Angels, but then they've done that already. And I was just like, shut up, Mel. I was like, oh, wah. So that's our good guys turn bad, or when goodies turn evil, or when good boys turn bad. Sorry, that's a bit pervy, but what would be your? This one's potentially more interesting, actually.
Yeah.
What would be your traitorous Primarchs turn good? Obviously, de-demonization and stuff, right? Pure. It could have been a retrospect again, what's your choice for this? And I've got.
Do you know what? I've actually. So before we started recording, I had a choice in mind, but I think it was a bit of a safe choice. And I've actually, as we've been talking about it, and as we've been discussing this, I've kind of changed my mind on my choice. So I actually think Conrad Kurz, and hear me out.
Oh,
because he would basically be fucking Batman. He would be killer Batman. It would be the coolest shit ever. Can you imagine? He would be this. You're you don't even know how to handle this. You're well, hang on a minute. Your cogs are turning.
A little bit blown. Well,
but do you know what I mean?
Make it
right?
Really cool. You could say that he won his eternal war with the Night Haunter and banished that personality, right? And then to repent for his sins is basically the Emperor's attack dog, right?
Oh.
And to make him really, really pro-Imperium or and maybe not pro-Imperium, but anti-traitor. And just have him, oh my God.
I just love the idea of sending him, I just love there's a mental image in my head of him just kind of kneeling on some massive parapet over the Imperial Palace, Batman style, just looking for someone to fuck up.
Two lightning claws coming out.
Yeah,
two lightning claws coming out.
It's sexy Wolverine Batman. I'm into it. I think that would be such a cool choice, and also then he wouldn't have killed himself. He didn't kill himself, but let himself die.
Well, you could still get him out of the setting by saying he had to disappear to do a secret mission on behalf of the Imperium that no one else knew.
I really wish he wasn't dead. He's such a fucking cool Primarch.
No, fuck that guy. He's an absolute dickhead.
No, he's fucking cool.
Dark Angels boys are fucking... No, he's not cool.
He's fucking
not
great.
Fucking cool. He's psychopath, and he's martyred by Night Lords players that are he's just misunderstood and the Imperium was evil. fuck off. He murdered babies. Get fucked. Like, he's a fucking psycho.
Maybe the babies deserved it.
Fuck the Night Lords. yeah, maybe. Maybe they did. Maybe they did. But, like, no, fuck the Night Lords. I hate that Legion so much. It's such douchebags.
Oh, no.
It's so annoying.
No, they're great.
Although they're still better than Milk Toast Legions, and they're still better than the Raven Guard. They're like the Raven Guard hottie sister, right? Where it's like, they're like way better than the Raven Guard, but like even so, like they're just
cut my foes into pieces.
There we go. See, there we go. Now, although I was very tempted to say Lorgar or Perturabo for my choices,
they'd be really interesting. Actually,
Lorgar at the moment. They would both be very interesting choices, especially Lorgar in the age of the Imperial.
Would be super cool.
Lorgar in the modern era would be cool.
That would
I kind of didn't choose him because, imagine him being as high ecclesiarch in the Imperial.
I know, that's what I'm thinking. That'd be so cool.
He's there with his dad. Like in the throne room, like Grimmer Wormtongue, like whispering into the Emperor and being like, it'd be like so creepy and weird. It'd be like, Dad says that's not a good idea. And it's actually Lorgar. But my actual choice. Oh, sorry, that's just really cool.
Don't speak to me or my father ever again.
Cool get out. High Lords of Terror execution. But just that, wouldn't that be cool? But my actual choice is a bit of a weird one, and it kind of relates to weirdly, karmically, to my loyalist choice, where I would say Angron, and I'm going to like retrospectively move some stuff around. My what if would have been if the Emperor wasn't a massive cunt and didn't give any reason for Angron to... sorry, that made you laugh, didn't it? Didn't give Angron... sorry, I was just really gratuitously like...
No, it was just out of nowhere. I loved it. Carry on.
But it's true, though, because like everything that pretty much happened to Angron was able to be sorted, right? And I'm kind of thinking about if Angron was spared the Butcher's Nails or the Emperor. I know that in the lore he couldn't figure it out, or maybe he just didn't want to because he just couldn't be asked. But for whatever reason, or the Eldar helped fix him, or whatever, there was a way for like Angron's like nails to be removed safely, and also that he didn't have resentment for the Emperor. Maybe the Emperor actually like saved his like gladiatorial planet or whatever. And the reason why is because I think Angron is probably one of the most tragic and misdone Primarchs in the history of 40k, because obviously Angron was massively sculpted by his nurture rather than nature, in as much as Angron is a complete sort of result of where he was raised, what culture he was all a part of, and that gladiatorial fighting thing, and the Butcher's Nails, right? That was all nurture rather than nature. What Angron's actual Primarch power is one of the weirdest ones, where he can like, he's almost quite cleric-y, where he can like take the pain of other mortals or other beings like into himself and like essentially heal them. Because we see it in the Angron Primarch novel, where he's like easing the torment of his fellow gladiators, and just before he goes into the pits and stuff, and he's essentially like the equivalent Primarch of like a cleric class or a paladin class, right? Where he's able to like heal people, or at least like ease their like thing. And imagine like that across the World Eaters, where like you wouldn't have had like this like ferocious thing where he's like calming them all down. Yeah, incredibly 8 Mile, like very John Coffey, right, from the 8 Mile, right, where like, and he's got like this very calm, very collected like legion of fucking like brutal fighters, right? And there isn't like a healing class Primarch either. No, so like,
that's true.
How fucking weird would that have been? Like that would
be really
kind of,
interesting.
What are your immediate thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's actually quite cool. Like a paladin version of him that hadn't had that sort of like, you know, as you said, been fucked over, and also that sort of nurture versus nature thing. You know, he is a product of his upbringing and like what happened and what went wrong. And I think it would be super cool actually, because you know that is something that we don't really have, like a paladin. I guess the closest is probably the Salamander's. What's his name? Oh God. Vulcan. Salamander Primarch? Vulcan, yeah. Vulcan is kind of the closest to that, I guess.
Yeah.
But like,
and if we're talking about the fact that like legions mirror each other, right? Which I've talked about at great length, right? We kind of have a mirror here, where like like the world eaters are kind of like a micro mirror in concept.
That'd be super interesting.
Salamanders.
Yeah, sort of like the lay on hands kind of approach, where he could heal people with a touch. And
can you imagine like a noble Maximus-esque like Angron? That,
really
like,
cool.
Does the thing with his hands. He like goes into battle like gladiator style. He's like a noble guy, and he's like actually quite, because if he has that healing element, he's probably quite charismatic as well. Like Angron with charisma and all of that strength, he'd be like Hercules or something.
Yeah,
right?
it'd be really cool.
It'd be like ancient pantheon-y. It'd be fucking awesome. It'd be well cool. Like,
I'm into that. Like, that's a good choice. I like that. Yeah. Very cool.
Too.
Any
honourable?
I think in terms of, I really liked your Lorgar idea. I think that's a really cool one. Like him with the ecclesiarchy, I think that would be a really interesting twist on the way things are.
So dark.
That would be so super
dark.
Cool.
And it would kind of reflect like the evils of the Imperium, right? In like a really fucked up kind of weird,
that's a cool one.
Ass about facey kind of way.
I still think Perturabo would be a really interesting one to see the other way around. That. Like a good Perturabo.
Imagine that. Again, in the same way that like having a bad Guilliman would fuck the Imperium so bad, having a good Perturabo would be like game over for Chaos.
Yeah,
like game over. Like you've got like a fucking gate outside, like the Eye of Terror, right? Or like whatever, or the Void. You've got like a gate there, and like Perturabo assaulting it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, fuck off, mate. Yeah. Like we're going into the warp. Do you know what I mean? Like fuck you. 100%. Iron within, iron without, baby. Like come on, he's invented the mega Gellerfield that like eradicates demons inside of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, dude, he's like sky's the limit with like Purty. Sky's the limits with Purty. Like if you could focus that and the Emperor just going, good job, Purty, you're my favourite.
I think
like, that's all that the Emperor needed to do.
You could really do this with like any of the Primarchs would be an interesting flip. Like even things like Jagdai Khan, like be super cool. Like to see him like as a Khorne's champion or something, or even a Slaaneshi version.
I would have seen
like,
him.
Fuck me.
I would have seen him as a Slaanesh, right? Because Jagatai is all about impulse. Right, he's all about impulse and charisma and like that wild card hedonism of like do what the fuck he wants to do. He like Jagatai always does what Jagatai does, and like he is the Emperor's wild card. It was kind of a miracle that he even stayed loyal in the first place, right? And could you imagine a White Scars like color scheme that's like white with like pinky trim? Do you know what I mean? Like rose purple trim.
It would also be really nice to have like a Slaaneshi Primarch that isn't a little bitch. Because Fulgrim, as much as I loved loyal Fulgrim, like Demon Fulgrim's a little bitch. I'm sorry. I just have to say it. Like he is a little bitch.
Yeah. Also, sorry, Quipster, but like loyal fucking Fulgrim isn't that much better. Like he really struggled to bring that world into compliance in his like he wasn't all that great. I'm sorry, he just wasn't. I think he became way more interesting when he fell. But like, I don't know, man. Like he's just a bit weird. Like I just find Fulgrim to be a little bit like strange and like to be all the sort of like pomposity of the Imperium that is just pathetic and like I don't know, like Jagsy being Slaanesh champion, that's terrifying.
He'd be a monster.
Jagsy, imagine that with like demon speed. Like he's already the fastest fucking thing. He's already so fast. Jagsy was so fast in the lore, right? That he became a literal blur of death to orcs. To the point where orcs were like, I'm actually scared and I don't want to fight.
Yep.
For the first time in my life, I do not want to fight. I'm an orc. It's hard built in my nature. Fuck that whirlwind of death, right?
Yeah.
Imagine that, or like Slaaneshi demon roided up. You would just be like, I'm fucking dead.
He would be an animal.
It'd be like the red. it'd be like the Red Wake, where you would just look at him and defecate in terror. You'd just be like, I'm just fucking dead. Like, there's no getting around this. Do you know what I mean? And like Jagsy hanging out with demonettes. Do you know what I mean? It just kind of suits him in a weird kind of way. And like kind of like but yeah, I mean, dude. I mean, this. I must confess, I was quite proud of myself for this subject, because this is it's
a great subject. Like,
really
you
cool
could
one.
really go nuts with all of these guys. Like, as I said, all of them would be interesting. Like even a Horus that would flipped and not gone dark and had, because and you could build on that character.
Oh, Jesus Horus.
Jesus Horus.
Jesus Horus. The only one that I don't think, ironically, that would be very interesting, and there's two really for me, because they're pretty much the same however you flip them, is like Morty being
Mortarion.
Because he would still just be a smelly boy. He would still just be like a smelly, angsty boy. I don't think there'd be any like anything there. And also fucking
Alpha Legion.
Alpha Legion would be the same. Alpha Legion, that's kind of the meme anyway, isn't it? Yeah. We don't know they are the same. They're not the same. There.
No.
And also, Korax Cuck Chair would also be the same, pretty much, right? Because he's like a demon crow now anyway, so it's kind of like he's kind of the same. And like all Raven Guard stuff, he's irrelevant anyway. So like no one actually care if he was good or bad or whatever.
They've got a new display board at Warhammer World of the Raven Guard versus the Tyranids, and I saw someone, I think it was Valrak or someone, was showing it the other day, and it looks super sick. You're like, okay, yeah.
How does it?
Yeah, it was actually
I'm
really
surprised
cool.
You can even see the Raven Guard on that board. You mean the Tyranid board? You mean the Tyranid board?
Yeah.
Because you can't see the Raven Guard because they're invisible.
Or dead. Because they're so shit.
Mutated by crow genes. The mutant crows. Nevermore. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I can't deal with that.
But no, okay. I'll see the display and be like, oh, it's so good, and just be like, you probably should have picked a better Legion, guys. Come on,
rude.
Have a better Legion here. I know it's rude. I'm so sorry. It's unnecessarily
such a
rude.
hater.
It's actually
such a gatekeeper.
It's actually spiteful.
What if I wanted to get into the hobby as Raven Guard, and now you're gatekeeping me, saying my faction shit?
No. I'm an equal opportunist gatekeeper, where it's like, I think that every faction is valid, even Night Lords, apart from Raven Guard. You can fuck off. They're terrible. Terrible. I'm going to meet a Raven Guard player that actually listens to the podcast one day and just be
just going to knock you out.
Like, in real life, I'll actually be genuinely quite apologetic and be like, I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
Like, you have every right to play that faction, but can I check your head, please?
Will you do it again? And you'll say, nevermore.
There we go. Please let us know your favourite flippy Primarchs, because I think, and it also obviously steers the destiny
and why
and
what you do with them. Like, would you flip them in the Horus Heresy, or would you flip them now, and where would they be? Tell us. You give us a huge 20 chapter breakdown in your comment. We will read it, I promise.
Yes, and I will be the only one replying to comments, apparently.
No, I'm sorry. Look, you do the fucking editing, and I'll do the comment reply.
No, it's fine. It's fine. We split duties because I'm also master of topics as well. So I do some things for the podcast.
Yeah, you do.
And I do social media stuff.
You post them to you post the picture that I make to the Instagram as well. So that's that's hard.
Well, I have Legionnaires' disease, and that is so far.
You're bringing out the biggest shot ever. Okay, all right. He's putting his dick on the table.
Lord of dad jokes. Jokes.
I do love that. Yeah.
So there we go.
A good one.
If we're
share the load. We share the load.
If we're bucking, share the load.
We share the load. We share the load.
And I hope many of you got your Christmas boxes. They're all sold out. Sorry about that.
On that note, actually, we're thinking of doing a little Christmas special for you guys. We won't reveal exactly what we're doing yet, but so we will be probably putting out an extra episode between now and Christmas, probably within the next couple of weeks. So keep an eye out for that.
and some guests as well on the horizon. We've had to unfortunately shunt a guest that we had that we were going to put on recently to next year. No fault of anybody concerned. It was just something that happened. We will do that next year. I'm really looking forward to having them on. But you might have some cheeky other guests in line. So
hopefully, I'm going to get someone lined up in the next week or two as well. So we shall see.
We shall see.
Stay tuned.
But wish us luck. We're going over the top in our tournament,
together,
so that's going to be
hand
fun.
in hand.
Indeed, forever.
Apparently,
forever.
someone's bringing a list that has 5 knights and 2 non-emissaries. If we come up against that, it's going to be like, so that's going to be an interesting.
No, it's fine. It's fine. We'll just play the game. Just play the objective.
Are you just going to just punt the Norn off the objective, and I'll just smash a load of knights? It's going to be great, mate. It'll be fine. Yeah.
I'm running 10 assault terminators, bro.
I can't
smash someone
fucking wait.
In the face.
It's going to be so much fun to actually get some painted GSC.
Actually, we'll have one more episode before then, actually, won't we? Because it'll be Wednesday. What am I talking about?
Yeah, we will. Yeah, we will. Awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, let us know your thoughts. We love you all. Thank you, Ed, my absolute glorious co-host that you are.
Thank you, Russ, my equally glorious co-host. Sometimes more glorious, at least in the hair department. So yeah, thank you, and give us a like, give us a comment, give us a subscribe. If you like what we're putting out here, then give us a like. It really helps to grow the channel. It does
generally help us get to 100 subscribers by Christmas. That'd be the ultimate Christmas present.
Drag us, kicking and screaming out of a small channel.
Kicking and screaming. Yeah, man, and then we're there. We're going over the top. Bring it on.
Yeah, we will.
Right, love you all. Ciao.
Love you long time. See you guys.